Yeah, I'm just hyped to get into this one, to be honest. I feel like it should give us the best of the three maps so far, even though, in my opinion, that Inferno one was fairly exciting. I thought Ancient had its moments as well, especially in the early rounds where it seemed like Finest were going to give them a bit of a challenge. But this is where I expect both teams to be at their kind of most comfortable, to be able to just play their own games and see how they truly match up against each other. And well, it's looking like we're going to have pretty quick action coming in. It is going to be the straight up B hit. They will slow it down slightly though, so they're not going to be charging straight in. Instead, contact being played. And while Kreese is happy to give it over, playing for the info pushed up on short, confirms the push in at least by one player, but he won't stick around to really see what's going on afterwards. Instead, they're going to just hunker down on this B bomb site and wait for what looks like it will be an eventual push forward.
So, deep into this pistol, and what was a very, very quick bit of pressure towards B has quite quickly relieved itself into Marcos running away, looking back towards A, and then in turn, a couple of these players lurking in and around on the short spot. Kriaz trying to give the wallbang a good go with the USP. They go for a bit of a boost. We'll spot out Mar, but he continues to hold the angle. As for the rest of them, I think this is just about playing with the numbers here. Dean, I'm not too sure about this round, if I'm honest with you, by Wisla. I think you had to go for the B play very quickly, or you had to just make the run towards A, because Finest seemed very prepared for this late play.
Yeah, smokes and flashes over now though, so they do have to move with it eventually after waiting so long, but those USPs at range and even up close are just ripping off heads. Marhold strong around the pillar as well. He didn't have to really get anything done till towards the end, despite being the initial point of contact. He kind of just took the attention and allowed the Heaven player and the Graffiti player then to go ahead and pop off heads as well. And that's a fantastic pistol round, you've got to say, from Team Finest. I didn't love the approach from Wisla, though. They just kind of went over towards B, sat in place for a while, and gave Team Finest really the opportunity to get info all across the map if they wanted to.
Absolutely. We look to the second round, where dire straits continue for Wisla. 4 Deagles and a scout to just work with heading into this round. I don't think you're going to be expecting a masterclass of a performance from any of these players. I think it's just about really outputting the damage, see what's going on, go from there. For now, though, I don't know. We're just waiting maybe for the Wisla push, or for Finest to get a grip and some inside knowledge as to what Wisla are up to. Bit of a long plate. Scout does connect, but the M4 stings just that little bit more. Down to 10 HP, finds Marcos.
Goofy's forward at a smoker though, so that could potentially catch someone, but no, it's not going to be catching Mar off guard at this point. There is a decent trade on short, but they're overlooking Robin currently. He should be able to make the play happen here to deal with the threat that these pistols were beginning to look like. And indeed, even the third kill they'd found on towards the low health of Sparrow, leaving only Marcos, and I think he might be the next victim considering he's only got 10 to work with as well. And there you go, a little flick from Robin. It's simple enough. He gets himself to 4k and just has Batroom on lock basically right there. Even into a full eco now.
Yeah, no problems at all. And I mean, this is very well played here. Just the trigger discipline on Robin, just so intelligent. Wait for 1, wait for 2, somehow gets away with a 3rd. And just like that, you know, Finest, that's the difference maker. Give themselves a 2nd for Wisla in this round. Deagles, pistols, whatever it is. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. SMG to farm the money, M4s to make the distance. Who knows, man?
The 2 MP9s, as you were saying, will be looking to try and get as many kills as they can. Although I would have liked if an Arquez was maybe rocking one. He's got himself the M4 for now, and of course was the man aggressive on A, pretty much locking down that side of the map. But they have confirmed the bombs over towards B, I do believe. Never mind, he's not going to be able to hold on to it anyway, having now lost his life in towards the, or rather deciding to fall back away after he took a couple of shots, rather. So mid-control reclaimed. With that, the bomb as well. It had only been spotted in towards the ramp. He didn't actually push forward. So there's maybe a bit of an opportunity still here for these Deagles to get something done, especially as Anarquez doesn't move back to the bomb site now. He's going to go down connector. So if they were to move fast up along, potentially even a bomb plant is going to be there for them. And I think that would be a massive win with how little they've brought into this round.
Time.
Yeah, they need to be fast. The rotations are coming up.
Away. Yeah, exactly that. Like you've got minimal time. If you can set the bomb down, that's grand. I thought Marcos just made so much noise though. No, Jedka, he's sort of shifting in with the bomb. Finest have got the hunch that it is going to be the A site, which is why the rotations happen. And well, instead of planting the bomb, they go aggressive. Now Jedka tries to return, but Kriaz's swing has already caught the C4 out in the open. Grenade drops. Marcos will scoop it up. The swing from Kriaz, though, to find another. And you just got to think, right? I'm wondering, had you have just simply gone out on site, planted the bomb, then taken the fights, that round could have gone completely differently, Dean. I reckon Wisla had a chance to win that one if they'd have changed how they played that round out.
Yeah, they were being a bit overly cautious, really. As you said, I thought Marcos kind of charged into the bomb site and then started walking, which likely would have been heard by the players rotating up anyway, although they didn't quite know they were rotating up. So I guess it was a bit of a gamble that they hadn't been heard and that they could catch the bank player off guard and then get the bomb down in a more equal 2-on-2 position. But it's unfortunate they didn't realize the bomb site had been open for them. Otherwise, I think, yeah, they happily would have taken the plant. Either way, though, coming onto the guns now, it is the initial gun round for Wisla. They've got the rifles, they've got the op as well on towards Marcos. Nades could be a little bit better, but overall, the investment is there to give them their opportunity to get into this game, really. On the other hand, if Team Finest can get this initial gun round and make things look like it kind of went down back on Inferno then as well, it will get really scary for Wisla. So you can see how serious they're taking this, and they're being pretty precautious about everything. Moving slowly in towards middle. I think Mar might have a gap here. Oh, apparently not.
So close, isn't it? It is so close. Timing on whoever at this point could be the determining factor. Flashbang dropped deep in on long. Goofy swinging around, trying to maybe catch off a couple of these players. Nothing too extensive happening, and Arquez caught blind. A really good swing, but tough prize up close and personal. Mar looking for a second, won't quite connect. It's a nice shot from PHR to respond, and obviously the continual from this is that an Arquez is low HP. Goofy taking a lot of damage to the own shrapnel of Finest. The grenades pouring forward, the molly towards Bank, and now the nade forward to try and give himself the space. Jedka down to 1 point of health, and well, there you go. He's finally taken out of the round as Kriaz lines up 3. Marcos now against 4 with 7 seconds to go. Little to no time as the shots continue to fire off. No time at all, and it is before time, but do you know what? It does not matter. Finest up to 4. What a flank from Kriaz.
Yeah, that triple. Nice control as well on the A1S, you've got to say. That little bit of extra body damage definitely helping him out, as he sits at 7-0 currently. 7-0-0. The anti-James Bond. That's what we'll call it.
Anti-James Bond. Do you know what, Dean? Every time that happens now, I'll think of this exact moment.
Thank you. It's not been said before then, I'm guessing. But, I mean, it would only... I suppose he'd only be the anti-James Bond if he was sending someone onto James Bond at the same time. So it's unfortunate that no one's killed this over on the Wisla side. They've all contributed a small bit so far, but they still need a lot more, and they're going to try and charge right into B, actually moving before the smoke fully blooms, which is a bit of a misplay because Kreese has a field day then with the AK, and Shox might have an opportunity up here close as well to just quickly shut this one down. They are at least being cautious of it, but Kreese through the smoke gets himself another. That's 3 of them so far. 3 of them, rather. I answer correctly, or at least as good as I can.
It's fine. We understand. The sexy accent, man. I'm jealous.
Ah.
Marcos.
You've got an accent that'd be like most places in the world, no?
Yeah, Southeast England, mate. We're labelled as chavs. That's usually how people
I didn't think that was an accent-specific thing.
I don't think it is. Well, it is definitely. It's like people that say water.
Water.
That's like water, exactly. Chat are gonna love that. I'm gonna get rinsed.
I say water, which just you don't get the tea very much in there. Which is ironic because I drink a lot of it. A lot of tea, not water. Probably should. Stay hydrated, bros.
Yeah, exactly. Take a sip, gamers. Take a sip. Nonetheless, Finest. I mean, they're more than just, you know, having the water. They're getting their nails done. Like they're absolutely living life right now. 5-0. Wisla yet to score a round, and if I'm correct in saying, I don't think they've even got a bomb plant yet. The T side.
I'm trying to remember, but no, I think you're right that they haven't actually got one down. The pistol didn't go very well for them at all. They didn't manage to get the bomb plant in that 2-on-3 either. They didn't get it there, obviously. So yeah, they've really been a little bit limited with what they've had to work with, never really getting that bonus economy. At this stage, the full loss bonus is obviously going for them, but they need to come alive right now, and we're seeing the switch up. It's going to be the 3-man boost in towards Graffiti. They haven't made any noise. They're going to catch the 2-man boost coming in return, rather, from Wisla, and it only works out for a 1-for-1 trade, which in this case I think is going to favour Wisla. In general, it will on the T side, but only really those 2 players were spotted, and on the other hand, Wisla know that a 3-man stack, of course, had to be committed there in order to actually get that boost in. So they know that was a very heavy B play early on from the CT side. And with that, they're going to start moving back over to get banana control and not banana, short control and such. I have heard people call this banana, but it's quite rare, so I'm very surprised they said that.
Banana.
Oh.
To be fair, I've called it banana a couple of times. Don't excuse you. Just short, really, innit? That's.
Yeah, banana's exclusive
go-to.
to Inferno. We can't tarnish the name.
Yeah, how dare us? Overpass. Taking some damage. Sparrow caught out. Robin, is this going to be a trade? Because Jedka has done the damage. Robin does get away with a kill just before PHR to trade out. It's a 2-on-2. 30 seconds to go. The bomb has to make a decision. Are you going to go towards B or are you going to go towards A? Yes, the smoke's going to be dropped, and Arquez playing a little more passive, but they're going to realize, right, with the only bit of utility being expended out towards the B site and complete silence afterwards, you're going to know that it's a fake. You're going to know it was a last-ditch effort to just try and hold the numbers. And with the molly being dropped forward as well, the smoke dropped in, and Arquez, a lot on his plate, missed shot, P250 out, the sidearm's done serious damage. 5 seconds to go, PHR going to plant the bomb, and it's denied by an Arquez. No scope through the smoke, he knew exactly what was up. Finest up to 6, still yet to score Wisla.
Yeah, I mean, they could scrape a bite together if they wanted, but it looks like, yeah, the eco's being called for. This is getting rough, though. This is looking very similar to Inferno, but even more one-sided at the moment in favor of Team Finest. Kreese is just being an absolute god. He's at 12-1, and Arquez, while he's only got 4 kills, obviously has high impact, a couple of frags there in that previous round, and was doing a great job earlier on as well when he was aggressing mid and such, and kind of locking down that half of the map. So you just have everyone seemingly coming together right now on Team Finest. And again, an opening being found. Marcos is going to get dropped. They haven't got much to work with. So I'm not expecting too much in this round. You've even got a Bison on Sparrow. That's a very interesting purchase. On the T side of Overpass, maybe like an Inferno, I let you away with it because there's a lot more close range angles. But it's ambitious here on Overpass, I won't lie.
I don't know how he plans on using it. It's like most outrageous gun to bring to this map. And he's done it. To be fair to him, he has done it. We'll see. 1:05 to go. Trying to make pace towards short. The utility flooding forward. To be fair, that flashbang, you can see the eyes just, you know, all of them trying to turn away from it. Robin, he'll find the opener, though, down to 3. The AWP of an Arquez to find 1. PHR, nicely done. And Arquez, 1 more for the AWP. The last denied. PHR, on the other hand, finds 2. Expecting the site to be clear. Pulls his knife out, and Kriaz there for the trade, but made so much more expensive than it should have been.
Got the 7-0 now. Damn. This is completely out of hand right now for Wisla. If they don't come alive in this gun round and chain together 3 or 4 off the back of it, then they're going to struggle to get a strong T-side together at all right now. This is surprising again. This is Wisla's most played map. Even though statistically it is worse for them than it is for Finest, I still thought with the level of players they normally play against and such that it would be a very close one. So far though, Wisla are just struggling to get their feet on the ground. And well, Jedker doesn't quite have the gap in the smoke, at least not in the back of it. Just as the peak was about to come true right there, he flicked back around, but thankfully the op itself is going to finally kind of concede there that there's not too much going on. Didn't want to risk going through the smoke itself. Instead, posting up in towards deep connector. And if he commits to this, I was going to say PHR will be pretty much trapped in position, but he puts the smoke down and might take a spam indeed. PHR with the perfect timing. That's going to be an opening for Wisla, which is something we haven't really seen from them so far, at least uncontested. I think the best we've seen was when they traded out on the boosts. Oh, and Kreese gets tagged heavily as well.
He's going to be caught out. Goofy finds the opener. This is a step in the right direction here for the Poles. Wisla making ground towards A. Goofy. Oh, they've got to be careful. Robin's got aggressive, and there you go. Kriaz with the AWP. A 2k from him in a 5-on-3 situation. It all turns south for Wisla as PHR and Jedka, the last 2 standing, and they stand tall to try and hold on. A first round denied maybe with 25 seconds. They've got to go back towards A here, Dean. They have no choice. They can't go down con. This is it.
And they'll be walking right into the belly of the beast, although they are mostly down below in heaven currently. That's where the op currently resides. They're only going to now begin to actually rotate everyone up into position, so a chance at least maybe for the bomb to go down if Yedker can keep them at bay. Potentially give them a chance then to play on the afterblend. He's got that first kill. His teammate, unfortunately, PHR, just being trapped in on the bomb site with very little chance of surviving as he gets initially wallbanged down. And then his kneecaps get riddled as well by the M4. So it's all on Yedker. But as we said, they got the bomb at least in place. He has the chance now to try and play off of it. And that smoke,
no.
I don't think that was the intention. That was meant to land on the bomb to give them the room to work with. There is a second, I believe, being dropped down. And Yedker decides to try and swing, hoping to catch one of them at least before that smoke blooms. Because once it pops, things become way more difficult. And there was just an incredible amount of smokes around in general. You see Shocks even has another as it ends. So I think they either dropped a couple in spawn initially or else were able to pick a couple up off the bodies. But it's A0. That's the best round, the closest round we've seen so far from Wisla, and it's still not enough.
Nowhere near. I mean, you keep 2 survivors. You look at the money for the CT side, and to be honest with you, it isn't good whatsoever, right? We're looking at, what, 1 more round until reset. My main concern here, Dean, comes from the fact that Wisla, even when given probably the best opportunity of the game, a 5-on-3, and they just couldn't convert. They couldn't do anything to stop them. You can see Sharks has assumed an aggressive angle towards one. So, like, Wisla are being brained on no matter where they go. They cannot get a break. Will we see the flashbang thrown over the top? Yes, we will. Shots, he tries to spam on out, won't find a thing. Now it's up to Robin on the side to do some damage, but it's Kriaz from ABC to do a lot of the heavy lifting. His cavalry on site's gone. Jedka, he'll find one more. 4-on-2.
Okay, let's see. No, not able to land the follow-up shot, unfortunately, on the PHR. Leaving it all onto Mar now alone. I mean, they actually haven't got a great economy. You may be tempted at this point to do some damage, obviously, so you can try and break them again immediately in this next round, but at this point, it's probably worthwhile for Mar to just back away here. The op would have been nice, not gonna lie. But as long as he can save this, you can have Narquez buy his op up. I was gonna say maybe drop one to Robin, but I think he'll probably prioritize the op. And then Kriaz and Shocks will also be pretty good for the buy. Goofy, is he going to push spawn? Not necessary at the moment. They want to keep their own weapons up as well. And there we go. Spots the leg. Just about wins it out. But now the bomb should take him out, I believe. Indeed. So there's no surviving for Mar. And that makes it a bit awkward. Their buy actually isn't going to be perfect despite having won 8 rounds in a row.
That was the problem for Finest. They knew they were going to run into that problem as soon as it happened. They really are treading on thin ice. Round 10, Finest, their last-ditch effort, investment, whatever you want to call it. They've really got to rack up some numbers here, otherwise, you know, Wisla maybe just can jump back into the driver's seat, something I don't think we'd have expected or even, you know, put a single brain cell towards, just because it's been so dominant, so one-sided from Finest from the get-go.
I've got to say, Marcos and Sparrow have been having a very slow series, especially in the case of Marcos. I was expecting a bit more on the op, but he struggled to get going against the Narquez, and it struggled in this map to get the economy going to really get the op out in general. So we'll see if that can maybe change up here if they want to get themselves going to get back into this match. Good timing for Mar, actually gets the follow-up as well. It was a fantastic flashover from Robin, giving that FAMAS a much better opportunity than it would have had otherwise, and he's happy enough now on the low health to just stay alive and keep the numbers in favour of Team Finest, as they have a 5-on-2 with still a minute remaining for Wisla to kind of sit under the pressure. This is not looking good, and Marcos is actually miles ahead of his teammate as well. If he wants to try and push in here, he's not going to find an open bomb site by any means.
Marcos up close, wondering, Finest, surely they expect this. It's just who gets the kill. How many casualties happen here? Flashbang's good, really good. Ah, Robin, well, how has that happened? How has he not checked the corner? Robin's gotten away with 2. Who was that? Marcos, how have you not checked the close left angle? Surely you check it. Surely you just have a look.
I think it's because the op shot from Truck, and then you had the bank player making quite a bit of noise as well. He was just like, okay, that's the 2 of the A players accounted for, but no, there was the stack in place. You still give it a quick glance. Anyway, it's such a common position that I think you'd do so. Sometimes, though, I guess when you're in such an awkward spot with just a couple of players pushing forward, you've got to take a gamble and hope that you make the correct decision of where you're looking, just because you can't quite cover every single angle at once. But it's 9-1. Team Finest immediately clap back with one round and leave Wisla in a very awkward position without the bomb plant going down, where they can't afford a full buy. It'll just be a half buy. This should be double digits. It should be Team Finest going up 10-1. And this is just not what I was expecting coming into this series. I thought we could have a close one maybe, but I did have Wisla as my general favorites, especially after how we seen the map pool go down. But it just hasn't played out as we expected at all. And this is boding well for it to be a very exciting season if we're going to be getting this from the likes of Team Finest as well.
Tech pause coming on through. Wisla down 8 rounds. It's 9-1.
Look at Kreese.
Yeah, that was the exact point I was about to make. Like, we're looking at 2 completely different scoreboards, right? Wisla, you've got what? Your best players 9-9 at PHR, 7-10 is Jedka. On the flip side of things, Kriaz 16-2, Robin 12-5. Like, Shox is only just going negative, going 3-4. But even then, considering it's his teammates that have seen all the kills to the feed, like, he's not having a bad game either. As well as that, Wisla, I mean, Sparrow's 1-9, Goofy's 2-10, Marcos 2-10. Really is the PHR and your Jedka to try and keep the ship afloat. It's looking abysmal for them.
Yeah, Shox has kind of just been chilling. He hasn't had to do too much throughout this series. Obviously, it would have been helpful, especially back on Ancient, but he did have his moments then as well. But my point more so is that he was tremendous on Movistar, so I know that he's got it in him, and that if a couple of his teammates are having a bit of a worse game, I'm sure he would be able to step up and also take over some of those fragging duties. So it seems like they have a pretty well-rounded team, at least in terms of firepower. We'll see how the consistency shows throughout the season, of course, but so far it's looking good for them to try and kick things off with a win. As we get a bit of a delayed pause, so I would presume it is a technical. We'll probably have that confirmed. Indeed.
It is indeed.
It's not going to be a long one, though.
We're winding. There you go. Look. Dean, you got the magic touch, mate. You said it's not going to be a long one, and as soon as you said that, I've just
look at the Irish
game and they're ready to go again. Yeah, maybe so.
Double up being rocked there by the CT side between Kreese and Anarquez. Makes sense. Anarquez obviously a monster on it in his own right, and Kreese just having a tremendous game right now, so he'll be feeling confident and more than willing to go for those early peaks as well.
Well, minute 30 to go. Immediate connector control. I like the initiative taken here by Wisla. They're taking, you know what? Yeah, even though we are, 8 rounds down, even though we are on a half buy, we've still got to take the fight to them. Unfortunately, on the flip side of things is the king of Overpass, Kriaz. He's made so much space in towards connector already, and you can see Mars just there to scoop up where they left off. The Orpa goes aggressive for the first kill, and now it's just Mars to take his place.
Ooh.
Wow.
Tight little angle as well. Sparrow loses his life, and I'm a little bit surprised you didn't see even the counter spam from PHR. I guess just not wanting to potentially risk giving away his own life rather than to a spam back as well. Might trade places here as he begins to push through the smoke. It fades away just in time to catch the kill, but Kreese again is ready. He's there to support his teammate. That's something we're seeing constantly from Team Finest. Whenever someone's aggressive or whatever, there's at least a player ready to follow up and attempt that trade frag, and normally in a position where they can also try and escape the safety if it's not going too well. Just strong setups in general. They seem to adapt pretty well on the fly. Leaving it all onto Marcos and Yedker now. It's looking like double digits all but confirmed here, and unless Yedker has a miracle round, then that should be the case indeed. He's got to get through these 2 on the bomb site within about 5 seconds if he wants any chance of planting. And, well, as you can see, the rotation's already here now means there's absolutely no hope. I think he just ideally wants to die before time runs out, and indeed he does in the end. The op takes his head off. For surviving a clean round from Team Finest, that's what they need. They want to build up a little bit of money to ensure that they can just take a smooth here for the rest of this half. Wisla do at least have another buy.
Well, 10-1. It really is becoming that one-sided game that I don't think either of us expected. I mean, sure, on your map pick, you can have games like this. But in the decider of a BO3 hit, Dean, this is like the last thing I think would have written down in the book to happen. Round 12 and Finest, having played 11 rounds, won 10 of them. Nade stack from the sandbag boost. Nothing to be seen. They now know that there's the B stack and they make up ground elsewhere. You know, you look at the A hold and now Anarcha is just jumping between the angles, making sure no one's in. In the meantime, a triple stack on B. In fact, a quad stack on B.
Yeah, going in very heavy on it. A smoke over from Yedker might even keep them in place a little bit longer as well. But I don't think they're being too silent as they move forward on A. So we will likely see at least one player begin to rotate back up soon enough, unless they're just really looking to actually commit to this one. I can understand some gambles, I suppose, but I guess it's not really too necessary when you're having such an well-rounded rather performance across the board on all the players. Play something a little bit more standard. And they're really taking their time moving forward on A. I don't think this is actually going to even be the push in the end, considering the bomb's been lurking around the ramp the entire time. So eventually that's being picked up and brought back towards B. But as I said, they do again still have quite a bit of time to rotate back down. And I think they had only budged a couple of the players. They've still got one of them in heaven. Oh.
Still at 5-on-5. The HP lead, I was going to say, in favour of Wisla until that happens. Mar catching Goofy through the smoke. 5-on-4. Once again, you turn back the numbers. And, well, Shox finds another. The aggression towards Monster. Overpowering. And I think, yeah, this is about to be the beginning of the end. The save-in. 3 survivors. Shox, is he going to swing? Yes, Jedka will find the frag. They're looking for the spam. Won't quite connect. But 11-1 here, Dean. 11-1.
Yeah, I mean, just letting us sink in a little bit because I did not expect this, and it's making me look a little bit foolish with my prediction. I won't lie. I did go for Wisla to try and spice things up so we'd have a bit of competition here between us, but Wisla, they're not really giving much of a competition to us, are they? This is so far from what I expected. I mean, as I mentioned, I didn't count out that Finest could win this series, but I thought whichever team took it, it would at least be a close one. Again, this is a map that Wisla are willing to pick at points even. It's not a map that they're unfamiliar with by any means, and they are getting rolled over. We'll see whether it changes up a little bit now as they look to try and move in through Monster. We haven't really seen a straight-up Monster hit in a while, and, well, maybe this is why, because it hasn't gone too well. The nades in to do even further damage. We'll see whether they manage any entries at all now on this push forward as Shock sprays them down. He's finally getting a slice of the pie. As we said, he'd been a little bit calmer on the frags so far, but he's up to 8 now, getting a 4k overall. Taken down before the ace, unfortunately, but Mar's there to go ahead and make sure there's no more casualties. 12-1. I mean, what else can you say?
What a one-sided game this has been. You know, when we come off of 16-7 on Ancient, 16-11 on Inferno, we're sitting here sort of like rubbing our hands going like, this is going to be a banger of a game. Like, this really could go the distance. You even said it yourself, Dean, in the beginning, like, we could be seeing overtimes. And it's far from that. Wisla, of the 13 rounds of CS they've managed to muster up, they've only managed to convert one of them. And while our 14th round of CS has gone no better. Admittedly, on the pistols, they have found some success. The damage being done, but already closed in upon Goofy. He's going to be spotted out. Really nice shot. Marcos, Tech 9, everything to do in the round. Bomb dropped in connector. And this is going to be it. It's 13-1 Finest.
Damn, okay. I was a little bit scared, I'm not going to lie. PHR had the drop on that connector player. I was thinking maybe they spiral things from that point forward. I mentioned it earlier on, I think when we were on Inferno, that you see sometimes with the pistols, teams are just a little bit more lax. You take more risks than you would otherwise. There's just not as much to lose. And sometimes that leads to situations like that where you catch players off guard and then suddenly win out a round. It wasn't to be though for Wisla this time. Team Finest, they're looking for the 14-1 finish. They want to ensure that there's absolutely no hope here for Wisla to get their feet back on the ground in this game, rather. As Yedker just charges forward, wanting a very early pick on towards B, but Shox is ready for him. He's been locking down B over these past couple of rounds. We mentioned he hadn't really got too many kills to his name, and it looks like he heard us and kind of woke up off the back of it. 1 kill at least from Marcos here, but they've still not got the advantage. But they do at least have equal numbers now off the back of the second one from PHR, and they have control of the A bomb site. It's going to take a very long time to get the bomb over, though, so I think it might be a better idea to go in towards B, where Goofy's already crept forward as well. Unfortunately, though, losing the lurker without him doing too much.
Smoke going to be dropped towards site. Goofy looking to go aggressive. Remember, this is their only chance at a second round. This is round 15. This is the half-time whistle no matter what. Nice swing, Goofy. He'll connect to the AWP. Robin, 1-on-2. That molly definitely isn't going to help. He sits and stares and goes, yep, I cannot be running through that. 46 points of health. 200 HP worth of players to find. Slowly moving his way on in. And there you have it. Goofy, he'll find the last. It's Wisla up to 2. But of course, they've got a hell of a road to go down. Finest 13 rounds in the first half. 3 more to close out this map and in turn the series. Can they make it easy cruising to 1-0 in Premier? We'll find out after the break.
Something's missing when I do not have it. I feel it in my bones, gotta find my space. These emotions on my face, taking a toll, I gotta pay it forward. I'll give it all that I can. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. Yeah. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. Just leave it to me. I know what I need. You'll find if you see. And if you believe, you live and you breathe, you'll find the key. Lifting me, lifting you. Can't go alone, let's do by two. Doing this together, it's me by you. All through the night, all through the night. This is me, this is you. When we get together, we can all pull through. I don't ever wanna stop this groove. Let's get it right. Take it to the Lord, then take it to the grave. Listen to the wise man, tell me what to say. Listen to your heartbeat like it still bleed. A little bit of hope, yeah, it's what we still need. Say a little prayer for the moment. Give what you got, just go in. Can't hold you back if you own it. Live your life like you're chosen. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. You know what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. If I won't, I won't be there. Just leave it to me. I know what I need. You'll find if you see. And if you
All right, everyone, welcome back. It was a very one-sided half, to say the least, right there, with Team Finest coming out 13-2 in the end, at least a small bit being salvaged by Wisla. But they're going to need a lot more. They'll need this pistol round, they'll need that initial gun round, and they'll need to be just as convincing, really, as Team Finest were on their CT side a moment ago. And I don't know if I see it in them after how flat that performance was.
Yeah, I think this is going to be difficult, right? When we head into this matchup, we were saying, like, you know, depends on how the first 2 maps go. If we even see a third, like, it should be a walk in the park. And, well, you know, it sort of has followed that original storyline. But, Dean, after the first 2 maps, we were saying this one really could be going the distance. Instead, Finest, at halftime, find themselves 3 rounds away from making it 1-0. And, well, I mean, that'll do a world of good in sort of round difference, wouldn't it? If you could win this so substantially, you know, round difference is definitely something you want to be looking out for later down the line. So, not a bad way to kick things off here. Finest, if they win the pistol, more than likely will just convert the game.
Yeah, it should be a straightforward path with no resistance if that's how it goes. If Wisla can pick it up, though, then I'd imagine a little bit of a fight can definitely be given. Although it is going to be a very quick B play right now, and Wisla, unfortunately, aggressive on short with all of the players, pretty much, and it doesn't really seem to work out for them. Shox just runs through the smoke. I don't know why he does that, but it somehow goes in his favor anyway. I think that's just the confidence they've all got right now. Shox was even one of the quieter players for a while, but he started just stepping up over these since kind of the middle point, I suppose, of that previous half, and hasn't slowed down either. as I had said, it really is a team here from in Team Finest that seems to have a very good mix of players. Anyone really being able to step up at any point, and it's really good to see. As I mentioned, I didn't really get to cover them in advance rather, so they've kind of just popped out of nowhere. Lots of players again that I recognize, but I didn't know they were quite together. So I'm excited to see what we're going to get from them over the season now, and this should be straightforward, as you mentioned.
So heading into round 17, having Finest picked up the pistol, I think this might just be the old beginning of the end. It's not impossible to see how things go though. Smoke, drop down. Maybe Wisla can, you know, scrap together something. Having said that, it is mighty, mighty difficult. Jedka caught blind. Deagle won't find a thing. Robin to open things up. The MAC-10 is just jumping around. Finds a second kill. Finally, PHR to put it to rest, but the AK of an Arcus to trump the B site. 4 on 2.
Oh, nice entry by Marcos. I was going to say they probably should just save this because I really don't fancy their chances going in with a scout and a deagle. And even off the back of that kill, I think that's probably the better idea. But unfortunately, with a scoreline like this, I don't think you're always thinking completely straight. You're going to be making some gambles, desperately hoping to claw your way back in. And well, it's Marcos just left alone. He'd like an exit maybe. I'm not too sure what he's up to. A couple of kills. Get some of those stats back that aren't looking too good currently. But I mean, what else can we say at the moment? It feels almost inevitable that Team Finest are going to bring this over the finish line. It's just been such a good performance from them. Are we going to have a Sinners-like run, like what we got from Sinners when they made their way through Advanced and then immediately within one season had already qualified up to Pro League? Obviously, very early days, but I'm trying to be optimistic here, I suppose. You've definitely got the capable players on the lineup for it to happen.
It shocks me to see how well these guys have been doing. As you mentioned, right, it's like the Sinners-esque run already happening where, you know, 2 seasons ago you were looking in advance, 1 season ago you were playing in Premier. What's not to say in the next season, maybe something better happens. Really nice job from Robin to open things up. The grenade tossed over the top won't do all too much to the HP bars in the meantime. We believe that's Jedka sitting within the smoke. Mar trying to take the fight towards Monster, but look at the discipline here from Finest. They're not going to send it out towards B. They're looking elsewhere. They're going to rotate away, and Arquez has assumed control towards short. Just about the timing. See what they can do.
Yeah, slowing it down because of the damage. Definitely a good idea at this point. Don't really need to overextend. You've still a good amount of time on that clock as well as the man advantage. I think they're expecting some aggression even to come in at some point here from Wisla, and they might end up going for it once they are left to kind of fester for a while, not knowing exactly what's going on. They'll want some of that info for sure, as well as the chance to maybe claw back a kill or two, but it looks like they're getting ready now to move in, and well, good timing for Anarchez. Catches PHR. Start moving in from Monster now as well. It's Jedker who's heavily committed onto the pillar and overwhelmed incredibly quickly as well as B looks open, and it looks like this might be it. Team Finest only needing a couple more kills to put an end to this one and to take themselves the victory in their opening best of 3 of Premier.
1 shot from Kriaz, 1 more to go. Marcos, a scout, a 1-on-4. Shot says goodbye. And well, there we have it. Finest, they are your series winner. 1 map down to nothing. Bounce back on Inferno with fairly convincing fashion, and a one-sided wipeout here on Overpass gives them the 2-1 win.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm really impressed by what we got. I was favouring Wisla initially going into the series just because they're a team we're familiar with after having them here now for a couple of seasons in Premier. But it looks like Team Finest, they might be a team to stay as well, or maybe not stay, actually, if they'll be aiming for that victory, of course, and looking for a Pro League spot. They've not got it this season. I believe the prize is actually a spot in the EPL Conference Season 16, as well as, of course, the moolah. You're not going to complain about some money as well. But again, congratulations to Finest. Wisla are going to have a little bit more to work on because this is an incredibly stacked group, and initially that was one of the games I was looking at as, okay, they should probably have that.
I mean, we had this down as a fairly okay game. Compared to the other games that are going on tonight, you've got to bear in mind, right, there was, I mean, arguably for name's sake, there were better options. We sit here, we do this, and if I'm honest with you, this best of 3 delivered even more than I think any other would have, right? That Sinners GL game maybe would have looked quite fruitful, but this one, I mean, if I'm honest with you, I would argue the underdogs well have truly won this contest. And Arquez I mean, he looked potent with the AWP. Robin as well. We'll run through the highlight reel, and I think every single player you'll see on this highlight reel here for Finest pulled up equally. You know, Mar had his moments as well. Shox has had an alright time. Kriaz, he just made so much space for them, though. And I mean, look at the scoreline here, right? You're on the CT side of Overpass, don't get me wrong, but it's 8-0. Like, what was going on?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. They just went completely missing, and it's kind of surprising because we had seen Wisla wake up as Inferno went on. Obviously, they started to make a little bit of a comeback happen, brought it back to, I think it was 11 or so before eventually it got closed out. But if I remember correctly, we didn't get to see the round itself, but they ended up losing out to a weaker buy as well. Maybe that was a little bit demoralizing and put them down before they headed over into the third map here, but I don't think that's really an excuse you can use. Again, it's one of their most played maps. It's one that they go towards as a pick a lot as well. I think they were just severely outclassed, to be honest, and it's surprising to say for the newcomers, but Team Finest, they seem to well and truly deserve this spot, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do against some of the other teams in the group, because as we said, I think Group A here rather is incredibly stacked with the likes of Sinners, Entropic, Fours, Gamer Legion. You've got AGO as well, who won the previous season, Double Pony, who had started the previous season at 6-0 at one point, Anonymo are very capable as well with some good names in there, so it's a super stacked group rather. I think Group B on the other hand, while it's got all recognizable names, I think it's a little bit more everyone's slightly more on par, while in Group A here we've got kind of just all of the best teams thrown in, so it's a very exciting one for sure. But again, congratulations to Team Finest. I counted them out. You obviously put your backing behind them. I tried to create some tension, I suppose, by going with Wisla, and I was proven severely wrong.
No, absolutely. I think Wisla should have won that matchup, right? After map 1, we were like, you know, this is their chance to 2-0. After map 2, we were like, okay, that was Finest pick, but do you know what? It's possible. And then map 3, I mean, you couldn't write any other way than Finest absolutely demolishing the side of Wisla. But as you mentioned, Dean, right, this is early doors of ESEA Premier. This isn't like the deciding game whether you go through or knocked out. This was the opener for both of these teams. So, you know, when you look at the matchups, I mean, yeah, it hurts to lose your opening game. And yeah, I know it's cool to win your opening game, but there's every opportunity for you to throw games away later on, or to take advantage of a team maybe that's better ranked than you or has the better chance of winning. Upsets do happen here, Dean. We're very much accustomed to them so far in ESEA Premier through previous seasons. So maybe teams won't get so beaten up about this one. It's just move on to the next, hope for the best. And as you said, right, aim for that EPL conference spot. Aim for the, you know, that top spot, 20,000 USD. Even second place, third, fourth offers places back in advance, or rather in Premier, or well, now called the ESL Challenger League next season anyway. What's not to say we can't see that?
Yeah, definitely. As you were saying, there's like 12,000 for second place as well, so there's good money there. It's more about, I think, the EPL conference this season. We were initially confused when we seen AGO, like, what the hell, they won the last season. But I do believe we have a bit of a schedule here to pop up and run down what exactly we've seen throughout the day. Obviously our own match here being the matchup of Team Finest versus Wisla, but we had, as you mentioned, names over on the other streams that, in my opinion, looked like they were maybe going to be stronger matches. As you said, our match certainly did not disappoint. But Sinners versus Gamer Legion, with Sinners coming back down from Pro League, they're going to kick things off with a victory, which I think is well needed, so they can start building some of that confidence back after having a bit of a tough time in Pro League towards the end. And I believe the Eternal Fire versus Saw one was unfortunately just a default. I don't think Eternal Fire were able to play. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, yeah. I think because of complications with their old and new teams and stuff like that. I don't know the exact situation, but at least Crossic, our lovely admin, sort of filled everyone in on it, and they were basically saying, like, because the roster issues, their roster wasn't eligible to play or something. So yeah, Crossic's the man of the hour for that kind of stuff. Not me. I'm a bit of an idiot when it comes to ECA rosters, but here we are. As you said, right, the only game that went the distance, Sinners Gamer Legion. I think that was quite an easy one to sort of tally up in your mind. Eternal Fire Source, sad to see that was a default, but this game, man, boy oh boy did it deliver.
Yeah, I had a great time seeing that one, and again, just the third map, I don't think I could have expected it to have gone that well for Team Finest. We said going into it this should be the closer map of the series after having two slightly one-sided ones, but Team Finest were like, no, we don't want any of that. We just want to go ahead and make sure we get a very quick win out of this one, and indeed they did. I mean, it's got to be confidence inspiring to come in and to be able to win your first match in the league like that in such a tremendous fashion. It's got to leave you feeling fired up and ready now to just hop straight on into those next games.
Yeah, it's all the momentum effect, right, Dean? Where, you know, when you win one, you want to win more. You're hungry for victory, and I mean, it happened to AGO last season, didn't it? You just start off on the right foot. You can put out some decent results. You did get tested along the way. Don't get me wrong. AGO had their fair share of scares, But, I mean, undefeated in the season, won every series they needed to, got themselves exactly to that top spot, and of course they get themselves a spot in EPL. We move forward to this season though, Dean. As we mentioned, early doors, but man, was that a convincing victory, right? Finest, maybe, probably not one of the hotter teams to win this season of Esea Premier, but I think that's quite a decent proving ground, right? We always talk about Wisla being sort of like the standing guard. If you can beat them in a best of 3, then you're more than likely going to find yourself into a decent spot in Premier. So far, so good. I think, as you said, though, the group does get very difficult with the people within.
Yeah, well, I do believe we actually have Kreese ready for a bit of an interview, so we can hear exactly what his thoughts are on that win. And, well, welcome. Thank you, Kreese, of course, for joining us. I think I'm going to keep it simple here with the first one and just ask you how it feels to come in and get such a tremendous victory here in your first game.
Yeah, it feels great. I think we struggled a bit on Ancient, but we haven't played that map too much, so yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask, did Ancient catch us off guard? Because obviously the scoreline didn't go too well, but I thought in those initial rounds, at least on the CT side, he's clearly had pretty good plans behind you, even if it's not a map that you're totally familiar with playing. Is it one that you have at least put some prep into?
Yeah, we have been playing it for a while. Not that much. It's not our first pick, as you can see, but I think it's a map for us that we still need to get comfortable on. We have some things to work on there. I think the scoreline didn't really reflect the game. I think we had some rounds that we should have won, but in general, I mean, they played better than us. They got the map, so.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I mean, it was very impressive coming off of Ancient onto Inferno, right? 16-11 to you guys. What was sort of said between the break between Ancient and Inferno? Obviously, coming onto your map pick, you know it's obviously going to be a little bit easier. Was there anything in particular that was said between the lads? Anything that happened to get you guys in the mood ready for Inferno?
I think just in general, we're really confident on Inferno. So we just said, forget about the map. Let's get our comms up and just play Inferno the way we know we can, and we're going to win.
Yeah, fair enough. I completely understand. I think me and Dean were sort of assuming that you guys would come on and put up a fight. Overpass, though, was a different story. We talked about this sort of in the pre-game between the maps, and I think we rendered it to be a very close game. What do you think happened to give you so much leverage and such a big lead on Overpass?
Well, I think, first of all, that we had a good game plan going into the game. We kind of knew what they like to do on the defaults and what some of the set rounds that they had, and feel like we had a good read throughout the game. But I also think they played it kind of poorly, I would say. They didn't really make it hard for us. Yeah. They made it super easy with some of the rounds, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair when it ends out 16-2. You can say that your opponents had a bit of a poor performance. They'll definitely have a lot to look back on, but it is only the first game of the season for them. I think they can brush it off. For you guys, it's got to be confidence inspiring. You've got to be feeling good now and probably kind of jarred up to just try and get into those next matches. And I just want to wish you luck. And once again, thanks for joining us, Kreese.
Yeah, thank you. See ya, guys.
So, what a lovely guy. What a lovely guy. Even in such victory, he's honest in it. He says, you know what, Overpass, I think, they played a little bit badly, which I think we agree with, right? There were some rounds in that Wisla Krakow should have won. To be fair, there were some rounds in that Finest got away with that they should never have had a chance in. And I guess that's just, how Counter-Strike goes. Of course, Dean, when we look at the bigger picture, only the first best of 3, but sometimes one win makes the difference. So Wisla, they're going to need to bounce back. But for Finest, I mean, what an introduction to Esea Premier.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them. I don't know if we'll get on one of their games next week or whatever. Of course, we're only on one stream at a time, even though their games are constantly going. So I do hope we're going to get to see them once again soon. And what excites me is that no matter what matchup they're going to be in, I think that it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Because again, this group is so stacked. I'm just looking forward to this entire season. And this was only the first day, already living up to the hype, guys. With that, though, that is going to be it for us. If you want to check out some of the previous games, of course, you can go ahead and check out the VOD over on the B stream, perhaps. You can have a look on HLTV as well and catch some of the other games that we're playing out. With that, though, guys, we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. And we'll catch you at the same time tomorrow as well for more ESEA action.